Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your April 2020 forecast. I hope that everybody's doing well. It's such a pleasure and an honor to be able to hold this space for you today and take a look at all of the information coming through for next month. Also to help all of us through the challenging times that we're currently going through as we really try to stay healthy, happy, and support one another. So I'm going to put this little resplendent creature down, but I want to always start my readings with a little bit of unconditional love here from Apollo. And if anybody's brand new, I'd like to start off by welcoming you and introducing myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. For everybody that is returning, it's such a pleasure to be able to see you again. And let's talk a little bit about what's in store for today. So first things first, let me just answer a frequently asked question, which is that you can always use this reading for your sun sign, your rising, as well as your moon. And if there's someone in your life that you want to check in on, you can also watch on their behalf. If you don't happen to know all of those different parts of your chart, just stick with your birth sign, and that's going to give you all of the information that you need. The way that I organize this is in about four main parts. I like to start off with channeled information, and this is what comes to me when I meditate before I get started. Typically, I will select a deck of cards, and I start to see, hear, and feel things as I'm doing that. And because I've started going live this year, I also begin to get it almost the minute that I wake up. So basically for the past few hours, I've been meditating and receiving information. So I'll talk about that first. After we do that psychic download, then I'll use the cards to lay out a full Celtic Cross, and we'll look at highlights, challenges, and other opportunities that present themselves. That's your blueprint basically for the month ahead. Then we'll expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. After I review everything that we talk about in the live forecasts, I've been doing something special because we're all going through a tough time right now. As I said, I'm trying to help us navigate not only what's going on this month, but also some deeper soul things. So we'll be looking at soul growth and development in that portion. And this month, the focus in April is going to be on renewal or new opportunities. And I didn't even know that kind of when we got started that we would have all of these sort of shutdowns going on or lockdowns around the world. So it is really important to think about what can I do next? How can I change? How can I shift? I was talking yesterday to the sign that I was reading for about kind of being like a willow tree, being able to bend and flex and not necessarily feel like you're going to break. So I'll try to help you through that in that portion. And we're going to do a meditation. I want to paste a meditation here, a link to this that I did yesterday. And this was a really, all of my meditations I put a lot of energy into, but this one I really felt an opening. So after you look at today's reading, if you are feeling that you still need to sort of calm yourself and you want to go a little deeper, you can follow that link, and I'll paste it later before and after the meditation, because that was a prayer for the sick, for those that have departed, and also for everyone else around the world to stay healthy. And I pulled in Archangel Raphael and healing angels, and we kind of went out of our bodies a little bit and received a healing and came back in. Very impactful, very important. Take a look at it. And for those of you that sometimes complain that I need to take more time in these readings, this is kind of like a dip in the water. I will do those guided meditations on non-reading days as we're going through the pandemic to try to help you. So you can go to my website, and I'll put a link later because I've created a new shortcut that will help you to get to all of those. One last thing before I get started. First of all, I'd like to thank Ryan and Maria. They're going to help moderate while I'm working. For anybody that would like to support me and say thank you, there is a kind of virtual tip jar here, which is Super Chat. So you have that emoji icon and then this $sign. And within that, you have a chance to either join the channel and support on a continual basis, or you can just send me like a unicorn, a rainbow, or some other fun sticker and say thank you. Know that helps. It helps me. As you see, I need to get some note cards, so it helps me buy supplies. It helps me continue to buy cards. So all of that just kind of helps me do what I'm doing. I don't do Q&A, so please don't ask specific questions. This is a general reading for the sign of Aquarius for April 2020, but you will get a lot of information. And as I said, there's a lot coming through. So that's that. And at the end, I'll give you a little more information about how you can join me on social media or book an appointment. But for now, let's get into the information that came through for your sign. All right. So the first thing that I got was literally I saw kind of hands reaching out, but not necessarily touching. And in these sort of times where we can't necessarily have contact with one another, or we're not even allowed to travel, we're going back to something that I experienced quite a lot as a kid, which was just using the telephone. And I think that it's going to be really important to reach out and call someone, and not just a text, not just an email, not even just a traditional letter. I think it's really important to hear the frequency of someone's voice, because when you call someone that you care about, you're going to be able to tune into when they say something. Oh yeah, I'm fine. On text, you can't really tell if it's true or not. But if they say it in a way that doesn't kind of ring true, you could just say, well, that's fine. Let's talk for a little bit. Let's really, you have to really tune in a little bit. So I think the power of voice is going to be important. It can break down some of these barriers that we're feeling right now during, mandatory social distancing and lockdown and isolation. So use the phone. It's a powerful tool, and it might be older technology. I mean, we're using our cell phones, but the voice component of it, not a lot of people pick up anymore, or like actually call, they just text. I think now it's important to use the power of voice. And I would say also your voice is important, and how you communicate with others, which is what kind of leads me to the next point. In my meditation, I could see someone kind of like, I saw the fuse, and I saw someone kind of getting upset. So if I see that, it's like a short fuse. And I said, be kind and assume the best of others. So yes, you definitely want to reach out, talk to people that you haven't in a while, using your voice, using telephone. Then for day-to-day interactions, for those of us, that might mean that, if somebody doesn't observe the proper distancing, or if you're in line at a store waiting to get something and they run out, rather than getting upset, try to just get information, figure out when it's going to be restocked. Just assume that everybody's going through the same difficulty, whether they're the person in line, the person behind the counter. Everybody has a heightened sense of anxiety. So we'll work during meditation to kind of neutralize that anxiety. But by assuming the best, you're actually going to get a better outcome as well, because people are going to feel that calm and probably want to work with you. So it's always easier to be nice, to be kind, and you can probably get a favor or more sort of support if you do that. Then the other thing that I saw was a representation of the Two of Wands in my head, which is a planning card, a manifesting card. So in broad and general terms, I think it is just to make plans, but I'm going to break this down a little bit more. But the reason I'm saying this is sometimes when our schedules are kind of thrown off a little bit, we don't know what to do. Sometimes it comes through as anxiety, sometimes it's boredom, sometimes it's sadness. And so what I think you want to kind of focus on right now is, from the very sort of morbid but necessary thing, do you have a will and do you have a trust? If not, this is a good time to get that in order. Look at your financial situation, look at your paperwork, make some plans, because we are in a time now where people may need to access those documents. If you're in a family that doesn't like to talk about things like that, you have to find a way, okay? Work on your plan B. When I say plan B, I mean, what if your job isn't going to kind of be the same as it was when you come back, or it's going to go away? Start to think about what else you could do with your skills. We've talked a lot in different readings this month about repackaging. There's also this chance for like a genesis or rebirth to happen, where all of a sudden you realize, well, I have no other choice but to try something new. So there could be a little bit of excitement and reinvention associated with this. But don't rely too heavily upon your job, whatever it is. Start to think of what else you can do. Get that plan B into action. And that also includes like your savings, just making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Then I think, and this is the most important component, I still think it's important to make dreams and plans and, things for the future, because this won't last forever. It's like any sort of natural disaster or anything that happens. There's a point of time, there's sort of these aftershocks. We haven't kind of reached the highest point of it yet. It's still kind of going around the world, but eventually that'll happen. And being an earthquake country, I know what it's like to go through a quick, like an earthquake, and it makes everything a mess, and then slowly you get back to normal. So this is like a worldwide earthquake that's shaking everything and everyone up. So it will be okay, but it's not right now. So you need to honor those feelings of, anxiety and uncertainty, but then still start to think, what am I going to do when this is all done? And what is this forcing me to look at right now? What's the hidden opportunity, the Four of Cups moment, where there's a blessing and something kind of a low-lying fruit there that you could grab and take advantage of. So we'll look at all of that today. I think that there's a lot of hidden blessings that come along with this. but there's a lot of difficult things too. So we can't tiptoe around health and potentially loss of money or loss of life. But I think there's a lot of great things that we can do, like getting closer to one another, learning to be kinder, and basically open up our heart chakra. And that kindness can not just necessarily be a phone call, but if you have more than enough, you can donate or give or try to support people. And again, figuring out what tomorrow is going to look like. Let's go ahead now and move into the cards. And at this point, I'm going to remain quiet while I lay out everything in front of me. Special thanks to everybody that's kindly giving me contributions right now. I appreciate you as well. And after I have finished the video, when the video is on replay, I'll put a little thank you in the comments. But I'm just going to continue to flow through the messages for now. But from my heart to yours, I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet for a moment as I lay everything out here. Two of Wands. And Four of Cups. One thing I'd like to say while I'm laying this out, even though I said I was going to be quiet, I need to say this one piece. Because of the changing events right now, these are really starting to be like 6-week forecasts. So we're going a little bit longer because we're also incorporating current events. All right, thanks for being patient, everyone. Let's take a look at what's coming through. All right, so we have here, discover your superpower, access 100% of your mojo. So what you're discovering right now perhaps is an undiscovered or an untapped resource of energy, insight, and it's kind of nice to be pulled out of your schedule and out of the norm. For those of you that are really kind of the modern superheroes, the people that are working at hospitals, whether you are a doctor, a nurse, the front desk person that's checking people in, people at convenience stores and grocery stores that every day you're putting yourself, basically your life on the line to help others. Thank you. And you are stronger than you think, and you found this inner strength to show up and be there for people that need to be there. So I have to acknowledge all of you and offer gratitude. I really appreciate it. For the rest of us, we're being asked in a different way to be strong, because when change happens, it's this feeling that like your world is being turned upside down, which is why the reversal of this card. Sometimes I get asked why I read reversals, because it shows me if energy is amplified, muted, or if there's an alternate meaning. So it has nothing to do, I shuffle the cards before I get started. So really what this is showing us is the kind of, it's like in piano, if you kind of modify a note, it just gives you a different feeling, and that's what I get. So for this, it's that some of you don't realize the power that you have. That's why the card was reversed. So go into your heart, to your soul. Remember kind of like maybe how it felt when you were a kid and you didn't worry about things so much, and find that sense like, I am going to figure this out. I can do this, and I'm not going to worry so much about things. We actually got the Fool here in the environment, which I associate with that ability to kind of like take a leap of faith. So we'll talk more about that in a second. Let's go into the center of things. You heard me murmur out loud when I saw the Two of Wands. That was precisely what I was picking up on visually before I got started. And it's thinking and dreaming and also pushing out the feeling and reality that there will be an improvement in the future. We have to stay positive, and we have to start to think about what that will be like. So it's a couple of things. It's sort of like we're going to be present, acknowledge our fear, pain, and uncertainty, and work through the challenge, be the superheroes, have that superpower that we're seeing here, and then start to manifest what happens afterwards. That's why there's two wands. It's the present and it's the future. And you're holding, you can't see it. This person's looking into the future, but there should be a globe, a crystal, or some sort of element there that indicates that this is what I see, this is what I'm creating. So if you hold only fear in your heart and in your mind, you are bringing in the fear. If you start to think about what you can do, whether that means like, all right, maybe I need to move, maybe I need to find a new job, maybe I need to try this. All right, start to think about that. And instead of approaching it with fear, you could look at positive aspects. Prices will be lower if you're trying to buy a house or rent a house. You might also want to be looking at types of work that need to be sort of out there right now. There probably is going to be more of a need for mental health and healthcare in general. So you start to think like, what else could I do? How could I package things up? The world, change is afoot. And also this is a global sort of thing that brings us together. So one of the best aspects of what's going on is it breaks down the barriers of age, color, religion, place of national, your origin, all of that, because we are all in the same family. We're all in the same sort of universe of souls, and we're in this together. And what all of this is no different than the shirt that I'm wearing. So one day we're going to see that gender, race, religion, all of that, it's just like a shirt or a coat. It's something that we've chosen to experience, to learn things in this life, but it doesn't define us. So expansion is really what this is about. Ironically, it comes from initially contracting. I've talked before about how the universe there's a few, we don't know, we're trying to figure that out too, how the universe began, how it will end. One of the concepts is that there's constant periods of expansion and contraction. And this would, of course, take like millions, like maybe 30 million years, because we're 13 million years into this universe. So, you would need at least that amount of time before we might be getting to the end of it, or longer. So anyway, this is a long period of time. But what I'm getting at is that, generally speaking, energy sometimes has to go inward before it can go outward. And a lot of times for supernovas, that's what happens. The energy kind of gets really tight and then it expands. So we're in an inward contraction moment right now, but there's going to be a moment of things getting better and going bigger, and your energy's also going to expand. I have had amazing growth with intuitive development during this period, like I haven't ever before, because there's so much coming through. I feel what you're going through. I feel what I'm going through, and I'm trying to be there for you. So I had to open up the channel. So know that whatever you decide to do, if you want to learn a little bit, if you want to try to expand in a place that matters to you. Again, this could be online learning, intuitive development, opening up your heart, just being more empathetic. All of this stuff is at your disposal right now. By the way, thank you for the new membership there. Now, I understand that a lot of you are feeling a little bit stuck right now, and that's okay. If you go into the mythology of this, the card is kind of based on, I think, it's a god that had to hang upside down. Was it Odin? So I think, anyway, the king of the gods had to go upside down to gain knowledge. And so you had to sort of like sacrifice time to understand things. So we are being really kind of like forced right now to slow down, breathe, take stock of what's going on. I mentioned Four of Cups earlier. What this is helping us see is that hidden blessing, that hidden opportunity here. And so I think for many of us, it is, sometimes we can get stuck in a rut and we don't sort of look up from where we are. And it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an equivalent for this, but we drive a lot in Los Angeles. So if you're in the car, sometimes you can just kind of phase out a little bit and you're not paying attention to the drivers on either side of you or in front or behind you. And it gets dangerous when that happens. It's kind of like daydreaming or drifting. And sometimes we do that through our lives. We're just kind of driving on autopilot. There you go. And this is snapping us out of autopilot. You have to take control of the wheel. You have to make some decisions. And we're all stuck in traffic right now. We're trying to figure things out. So we're going to start to go on different paths because this wasn't working. During this downtime, you can learn maybe like, I don't want to go back to my job because it feels better to not be there. I need to do something where I'm feeling like it's getting me excited again about doing something. If you're retired, there may be some sort of new calling now that you notice that the world needs some help, and maybe you feel like you want to be of service, or you just have some things that you want to check off your list when all of this ends. So it helps you with prioritization, understanding who you are, and ultimately it's a good thing, because the world in the Two of Wands is about expansion. Expansion over time, and there is a waiting period. Three of Wands means it's happening. Two of Wands means you're planning, you're waiting, you're sort of manifesting. So start to manifest your plan B, as I talked about earlier. King of Wands in reverse. I think one of the toughest things for everyone right now is trying not to overthink, right? And we can kind of go down that deep well and get lost sometimes. So the powerful piece of the King of Wands is, this is the ultimate card for being able to manage, organize, come up with really great ideas, and get people kind of behind all of that. For those of you that might be sort of like in a really powerful position and you're stuck at home, all of a sudden you realize, how do I use that? And it might also be a wake-up call of kind of getting back to basics. Like, everybody's going through this. So it gives you a chance to reach out and connect with people in your life. It can also be like a patriarch or matriarch card. So remember that rank and order doesn't matter anymore. We kind of flattened, we hear about flattening the curve, but we're kind of flattening the organizational chart right now too. There is no haves or have-nots when it comes to something like a virus. I grew up in the 80s as a kid. I was born in the 70s, but I grew up in the 80s. And one of the big things that we had to deal with was AIDS and HIV. And it was similarly disconcerting until the medical establishment learned that it was a global issue. It wasn't affecting just one group. It wasn't just men or just women. And I think we're just getting a reminder of this. And I want to kind of look back at that. I think we learned a lot from that crisis, and we have to not discriminate during this one either. And there's equity. It's the world. Everybody, young, old, every race, every religion, every orientation can be affected by this. So let's treat that with respect. I think we've learned that from the 80s. But one thing I keep noticing even here in Los Angeles is some people are not respecting the seriousness of this. They'll be outside kind of just chilling by the pool and there's a big group of them. This isn't the time to do that. We do need to maintain distance. Let's give it time. Let's wait for the establishment to give us the information. We'll be okay. But I do think that everybody's in this together, and don't overthink it. And with the King of Wands in reverse, it would say start to manage your life. Focus on what you need to do to be healthy and happy. Don't succumb to group pressure, and don't overthink. Those are the basics of that. Many of you may be having a hard time sleeping. This is not to be unexpected during a period like this. What I do is I meditate. Sometimes I get up at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, it doesn't matter. What I do then is like that meditation and that link, and I'll paste it here again for those of you that joined a little bit late. So what I'll do is sometimes just come out into the living room, sit down, start to meditate, and there's this amazing sort of calm that will wash over. It's almost like, even though it's nighttime, you feel this warmth, light, and radiance. And sometimes I can see the light if an angelic entity comes through and is there to kind of facilitate the healing. So if you're having a hard time sleeping, meditate. And if you need some meditations, I have a bunch on my channel and on my website, and I'll post that link later because I have to pull it from another tab. But just know that that's going to help a lot. Focus on consistency and also environment before sleep. Why does 9 of Swords happen? 9 of Swords happens sometimes because the last thing that we see on the television is, whatever, your news station. And we need to probably tune that out before we go to bed. I would say it would be better for you to read a book, to meditate, to exercise, to talk to your children, talk to your loved ones, talk to a friend. That's when you reach out and really kind of connect with someone. And just breathe. And then keep a consistent bedtime, and you need a schedule. Even when I've been working from home for over 5 years now, 5.5 years. I think a lot of people, I remember how it felt when I first started, but a lot of people are in that moment of shock. Initially, I felt guilty because everyone had a normal schedule and went to work and everything, and I had to create my schedule. So I have a very organized schedule every day. I have things that I'm going to do, and I have 2 businesses, and I have 3 things that I do over the course of the week. I see clients, I do videos. I also, I do sort of like expanded things. What am I going to do next in the future? So I book these days so that I can kind of figure out how to make all of this happen. So I'm writing as well. So getting my book ready to be published. So create some things that you can focus on. And I think that's going to be really helpful. A schedule, make it up. That's the cool thing. Be your own boss for a little bit. We don't know how long it's going to last in certain cities, states, and countries, but use this time. It's a hidden blessing. It might be a pain, especially if you have kids, because you're going to have to help educate them. But it's a blessing because you're with your kids, or you're with your pet. Apollo's hiding under the chair right now. But this is a chance for you to be closer to those that you love. And that's what we see here with the Sun card. Try to have fun with this. This is especially a card for those of you that have young children in your life. This is a chance to take advantage of the time to create a stronger bond and to help them through it. Because one of the things that they need to know is, yes, it's scary, but things like this happen periodically, just like we have a tornado, just like we have, I mentioned HIV and AIDS and things like that. So, over time, we have epidemics, pandemics, we have natural disasters, and that's when we help each other. And that's the lesson that you would bring to your kids. And for you, you have to keep thinking, there will be a point where this isn't controlling the world, but it is right now. But focus on tomorrow, focus on how to get to that tomorrow. You have to have hope through these things. If you lose hope, you lose focus and your superpower goes away a little bit. I want you to be like this superpower card here. All right, going now into your environment. It's changing. We're in uncharted territory. So the Fool card here is showing that for some of you, you may be looking at changing where you live. We have both the World and the Fool. And so the Fool's reversed, and I would think you're kind of weighing options out here. So having gone through multiple recessions, I was talking with my mom the other day and trying to figure out how many. I think it's maybe the 5th for me. But at any rate, there's been a lot. I remember a couple. The one that came to mind was actually, it was the .com bubble burst that happened in the 2000s, 2001, and then it was exacerbated by 9/11. But I knew before it happened in 2000, I'm like, things are not good. And I waited too long. I was in an apartment longer than I needed to, and it ended up costing me a lot of extra money. And so be logical right now. So that's the plan B thing that I'm talking about. Reach out and talk to your landlord and say, hey, like the world is on pause right now. Can we reduce rent? Can we talk about payment plans and things like that so you don't get in over your head? Take a look at the long term. Do I really want to keep spending this money when the economy is probably slowing down? Look at the opportunistic side, which is I might be able to get the same space for cheaper, but I have to wait it out. So what am I going to do for the next 3 to 5 months? When I get the Fool or I get the Tower card, it could be very temporary situations. So living with a relative, finding another rental or something like that, or short-term sort of living situations. So be flexible if times are calling for that. And the other thing with the Fool is to just get outside and walk. I think I saw someone write that earlier, but it's very powerful right now. You'll be doing that in a sort of isolated state, but you can, with your immediate family or your dog or something like that, you can still kind of do that. And being in nature is so powerful. And we sort of see, this is like early morning or early evening. And I would say that's a great time to get out there. It's called magic hour for a reason. Like when you're a photographer, you go out right before the sun sets. The light is beautiful, but also the world kind of has a different energy. So do yourself a favor, get out of the isolation occasionally if you're allowed. I know some places like Italy and Spain, it's a little bit more restrictive. But if you're allowed to walk out, do it and then come back and allow for that to be sort of a refresh for you. Also, you can meditate and imagine that you're somewhere that you like. So hold a picture if you're a very visual person and think about that space. When I was doing my teacher training for yoga, we would meditate and pretend that we were at the Golden Temple in India. And you could actually connect with that energy. You could imagine that you were there and I could feel it. When we meditate, I take us out, I hold the space, and we can kind of move out into different dimensions or different spaces. So you can astrally project yourself into like the Himalayas if you want to, and kind of go up to the top of a mountain, breathe the cold air and just feel this sense of peace and tranquility. why not? I think one day we're going to discover that we can explore planets by kind of astral projection, being able to kind of see what's out there. So, we can't get way out into the Pleiades or something like that, but we can project out there. We can connect with consciousness out there. And so know that in your meditation, just like the Fool card, you can imagine that you're somewhere that you love. Weighing options as we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, justice. So for some of us, we are in limbo right now, and the scales of justice are kind of hanging, right? So here in Los Angeles, I believe we're pretty much on universal shutdown, so much so that places that are always open, like Starbucks, have closed too. And so people that are there are kind of in that justice card. They have 2 weeks pay, but they don't know what's happening after that. So this is why right now you want to weigh what's important, make plans. And this is going to mean deciding to kind of cut certain things out of your life, perhaps. I've been looking at streaming services. I don't need them all, cutting some of that stuff out, just being smart about spending and saving, eating at home, saving money that way. Weigh everything out, be balanced, but also make sure that for those of you that are working really hard, I mentioned, 2 or 3 industries in particular that are unaffected. I even have a cousin that's a vet assistant, and whether you're a veterinarian or an assistant or kind of helping with rescues, things like that, they're still open, and they need to take care of the animals. So whatever the industry you're in, there are some that are really busy, some that are just waiting around. So see if some of those places that are inundated could use your help. This is where we have the Fool card right underneath it. It could just be seasonal assistance. So there might be opportunities opening up to you that you would never consider, but it's not a forever thing. The Fool is transitional. It's just for a little bit, and it doesn't have to be your end all be all. So if you need help, if you're looking for a job, don't be afraid to sort of try something different for a while, because it'll keep food on the table. So this is a time to, and I think this is why I saw the King of Wands in reverse. Whatever's necessary right now for survival, evolution, etc., do it for yourself. And when I say evolution, I mean evolution of the soul. So for some of you, you have to let go of what you're doing because it doesn't serve you. In every single kind of sign that I've been pulling, at least for the past 4 readings, the money cards have been on the lower end, and that makes perfect sense. We have 4 of Pentacles here. It can be a foundational card, but it can also be a card of worry. Usually you see the coin right over top of the heart space, basically pulling in. That's that contraction that I'm talking about. I think it's really important now to innovate your way out of this. I remember back, this would have been late 90s and early 2000s when Apple Computer almost went bankrupt, or was almost bailed out or whatever. When Steve Jobs came back, he basically said, we're going to innovate our way out of this slump and out of the economic shutdowns that we have. And that's when we had really great products coming out of that company. Approach your life in the same way. What can I do to get tomorrow to be safer and better? It could be, again, training, going back to school, and taking maybe advantage of some of for those of you that are at a company but working from home, maybe you can do the online learning. I know a lot of companies support that. So you've got to think way outside of the box during this period. But I believe that you can exit it stronger and more focused than when you went into it. So let's go ahead and expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and I'll review what I just talked about here through the lens of these. As we look at health, so one aspect of this is actually the power of music. I mean, I'll be using sound therapy here at the end of the reading with the singing bowl. But, when I was studying to be a yoga teacher, we would listen to kirtan music, which was chanting. So there's something really beautiful about music and prayer and meditation to help you through this period. We also see in the second word here, harmony. So this would be focusing on relationship harmony and finding harmony and balance within your life. So this is a time to basically take stock of everything. It's like taking inventory. And where have I been spending a lot of time? Has it given me what I thought it would? Is the money enough? Looking at the Sun card here, what's the sacrifice with my children or my whatever it is you're trying to create and do? Has that gone on the sort of back burner? And if so, do I want to keep doing that? So balance, 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 but definitely the power of music and helping through a period like this. I know that if I'm sort of depressed, that's what I try to do, is go to something uplifting. And I I mean, many times in many readings, but it comes through today that what you listen to, the frequency of the music is super important. This may not be the best time to listen to like death metal or something like that. No disrespect to anyone that listens to that. But let's kind of like go into the higher frequencies and try to go into something where it's uplifting and it's not sort of staccato and lower and, you know, it's like food, right? If you're eating greasy food or fast food or stuff that's just not healthy, it has an effect on you. So some of the music and some of the environment that you might be in could be having that effect. And so this is where you're going to make some smart choices with that. Again, bring it into balance. The main thing that I see here is the power of slow and gentle, sort of just walking, taking walks. It's going to help you get back into a normal state of being. That's about it. Okay. Let's look now at wealth. I'm a fan of A Wrinkle in Time. I'm pretty sure that this was this god was named in that book. I can't say the word, but anyway, underneath it is release. So with this card, this is basically a different version of death, or maybe even judgment. Because when I think of, there's a couple of cards, there's maybe more than that. I would actually say death, judgment, Six of Swords. All of those can indicate change going through. Even world, we have the world here. So if you can just let go of whatever needs to fall from your life, this is in work, this is in wealth, it's okay. So some of you are being furloughed, laid off, released. Some of you are deciding to move past something. Some of you have no choice and you're just waiting, you're in limbo. This is basically like a very gentle, transformative energy that's coming through, which is why we didn't necessarily get the death card, but this is a god of change and transformation. So you have to change. I think, I don't remember which sign I wrote this down for, but I think I said what worked before won't work now. And that's a global thing. So there's a reset after this. With respect to like the .com bubble burst that happened around 2000, 2001, the companies that survived, they're still around and they're stronger, like Amazon and Yahoo. Well, actually Yahoo went away. Google, some of those got really, really strong. Even Apple kind of became a service company. So a lot of the younger ones just didn't have what it took. So I think whatever shakes out of this will be strong. And then there's going to be other things that will come up after this. It's kind of like, I was talking about like a fire. When a fire happens, sometimes new life will come through. Certain seeds need that heat to germinate. So in the wake of this, we're going to have new opportunities. But some of the stuff that's going away needed to, because it was kind of dying a slow death. Some of the companies, some of the ways of thinking, some of the ways of operating. So get ahead of that curve using the Two of Wands that we saw, start to plan ahead. And with the Four of Pentacles, obviously, you want to be conservative, but you don't want to put yourself in a place where you think that it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and that you can't get out of it. You have to be optimistic. You have to be hopeful. You have to be innovative. And that's going to be essential here. So notice this card actually is showing me the power of prayer and meditation here. We see two different individuals, or perhaps an individual and an angelic entity coming through, and they are praying. They're looking up to the heavens, to the firmament, for peace, for love, for understanding. And just know that this is a great time to do that. And I think when we're looking at love, because this came into love and relationships, what you can do is pray for the people that you care about the most. You can also call in friends and partners if you're at a point in your life where you're feeling isolated. Manifestation works. Yeah, we're going to have a period now of isolation, but when that lifts, then it's a chance for you to bring in this love or bring in this friendship that you want. So you could focus on calling out to the soul in the universe that is going to be that friend, that lover, that confidant that you're looking for, and say, I can't wait to meet you. I know you're out there and I know it's going to happen soon. So you're the gold at the end of the rainbow. So we'll maybe pull that into the meditation. Okay, rejuvenating rain, clear the past, heal the present. This is in your destiny space. Destiny is where you're headed. It's mutable. It's something you can change. To me, rain indicates sometimes sadness, uncertainty, emotional sort of release. And so that's allowing you to clear and also get better right now. Like make sure that your life is going to be okay. But the whole purpose of this is rejuvenation. So we talked a lot about all of that transformative energy. You have the world here, which basically is ends and beginnings. You have the beginning card. These are bookends to, they would be like this. This is the beginning, this is the end. So you have both of those cards. The end starts and then there's a new beginning. So whatever's closing in your life, there's a new beginning right around the corner. And then we have a release card, and then we had a rejuvenation card, or another form of release. So overall, shifting, changing, healing, moving. But with that Two of Wands at the center and the superhero card, I feel like you're going to be okay. Let's do a quick review, even though I kind of did a micro one there, and then I'm going to move on to soul work, things that you can really take advantage of during this period of change and shifting. All right, so I think it's really important right now, let's kind of bring it back to what I had here, to focus on reaching out to people that you love. Even if you can't go face to face and see them, use the telephone or use something like Facetime, Skype, or Zoom to have some sort of a telepresence with them. You can almost be face to face. I do that all the time with my mom, actually. So it's a great way to be face to face without having to be in the same room. So know that that does help. Be kind, assume the best. Whether you're just stressed out or someone is acting a little bit out of sorts, they're probably nervous and they're probably going through a lot. So try not to exacerbate that situation. Make plans for the future, the Two of Wands, which we saw loud and clear here. Yes, we have to deal with the present, but you also want to look at the future. Some of this includes things that some of you may not be 100% comfortable with, talking about wills and trusts, making sure that you figure out what will happen after you're in your current job or situation, thinking maybe 6, 8, 12 months from now. And then definitely still thinking about things on your bucket list. Just because a vacation got postponed doesn't mean that you can't go ever. Maybe just postpone it until next year and think, well, I want to look forward to that. And I saved up the money and I don't want to cancel it. So, you know, move it out like 16 or 18 months or something and think, we're still going to do it when this is all said and done. Kudos to those of you that are stepping forward and being stronger than you thought you could, especially for those of you that are, like I said, in a hospital, at a bank, at a convenience store. Who would have thought that these are the things that we would be saying are important, but they are, because you're out there in the public eye taking care of others and putting yourself a little bit at risk, but it's appreciated and it's necessary for society to continue. For the rest of you, if those people can do it, we certainly can. And you need to trust your internal power and think, I've got this, I can do this, it's going to be fine. It is fine. I have the power to move through anything that's coming my way. Plan A, plan B, plan C, just keep planning and keep dreaming and keep thinking about the future. It's important. Some of you are at a big, big nexus and a big change in your life. This could be a change of employment, a change of living situation. It's going to, for some of you, involve a temporary sort of holding ground. So you might need to move to short-term lease, stay with family for a little bit, try a job on that you normally wouldn't, even if that's sort of, don't think that anything is above or below you. Think that this is a chance right now to participate, to keep sustenance on the table. And we're kind of flattening that hierarchy that we were talking about with the King of Wands. We're all in this together. We're all sort of stuck. So don't feel alone in this. That's part of why I'm showing up more frequently. A reminder that I'm here, you're here, and a lot of other people, at least almost 300 today, are here. So we've got this together. Start to look around and think, have I missed something in my life? You know, have I gotten so in the sort of autopilot mode that I forgot, hey, I learned how to do this, or I might be able to assist with this, or I really want to put more energy into that. You also might have someone that really loves you. Four of Cups can sometimes show unrequited love. So look around you. For those of you that are single and looking, this is obviously not the best time to date and try and find someone, but there might be someone around you that loves you, cares about you, and is trying to reach out. King of Wands reversed, again, showing that it's important to keep a really open mind right now. What worked before won't work now. You have to stay open. You can't let pride or ego get in the way. Meditate if you wake up early. Try to keep your bedroom clear and clean of clutter. Try to have a consistent bedtime. Use that meditation that I mentioned. I'll paste it here again, so that if you're feeling like you can't handle it, you can do that. Focus on children, creative projects, and also a positive and hopeful way of being and thinking. Take risks, take chances. I'm not talking about with your health. I'm talking about, thinking about what you can do in the future. Breaking down those old molds and paradigms. You're going to have to make some decisions. You have some time, but probably over the next 2 or 3 months, that decision is going to come into your to your court. So that's why I want you to plan right now. Don't stay in a limited sort of point of view when it comes to money. Although things may be at a standstill right now, they're not always going to be. You have to think about how you can move out of this, how you can shift and change. Balance overall is important. The power of music could actually be a really clearing and cleansing agent in your life right now. So listen to things that make you feel happy. Try to use music and lyrics that are kind of uplifting, not negative or derogatory or anything like that. Release, release, release. This is what's coming through when we're looking at wealth, rather. So we looked at health, this is wealth. So jobs, ways of making a living, money in general, we're looking at having to kind of let go of what we did and how we did it and look at new ways and new things. And you'll be able to figure that out. Some of you, I think it's just a matter of letting go and feeling like, okay, that's done. I'm going to now just move on to the next thing. So during this moment of release, you're going to look for relief, and that comes through meditation, prayer, and reaching out and talking to people in your life. Not everyone likes to meditate, I get it, but at least be there for other people and try to make this a little bit more manageable for them and for you. You will get through this. It's a rainstorm. It's like, again, a sort of global rainstorm that we're going through, but it is going to heal, help. And I think for many of us, it's getting us out of habits that didn't benefit us anymore. So there are blessings to be had. Let's look at the change element of this. It clearly came through, probably stronger for your sign, Aquarius, than anybody else that I've read for. And I think it's because we're deeper into what's going on now that I'm reading for you. So for those of you that are Aquarians and also Pisces that are sometimes upset that you're at the end of this, it's beneficial right now. And I'm here for you, and I'm able to read more of the energy of what's going on. So blessing, that's a Four of Cups moment for you. Let's look at past things that could come through to help you work through this moment. Either helpful or might be kind of pulling you back a little bit. All right. Seven of Swords. This is a really interesting card to come through because for me, this can be a card of accountability. It also shows things that you need to see. Like if people haven't been acting in their highest light, they can't get away with that anymore. That's why this card is reversed. So I mentioned yesterday that, this is kind of like a moment where you see the curtain raising up and you see the wizard behind the curtain. And I think for some of you, you're able to see people for their true colors. Crises bring out the best and worst in society. Sometimes you see, people outside donating, giving their time, their energy, and kind of opening up their heart chakras. Sometimes you see people stealing or lying or hoarding and things like that. So what we're seeing is the true colors, and it's a mixed blessing, right? Sometimes it's really disconcerting to see the lower frequencies, but it's really great to see people rising to the occasion. So don't let the people that are in the panic or lower frequency modes taint your view of what's going on or make you think that it's always like that. We're here to kind of elevate and lead by example. And one of the key takeaways of Seven of Swords is to cut your losses. So this is a time to just walk away, let that stuff go, choose not to sort of get under the skin of people like that. It's not worth it. So some of these people, you'll be just kind of like cutting ties with, unfriending, kind of blocking because it's not a good use of time and energy. All right, let's look at present opportunities. One last thing with this though is if you've struggled with accountability in your past, this is a time to really show up when you say you're going to show up. Okay. Okay, this is good. Knight of Swords. This is about taking action. So if there's something that you want to create, to change, to do, this is definitely a card of initiative. Kings and queens wait for things. Pages sometimes are receiving them. Knights go out and make it happen. So with this, it definitely goes back to picking up the phone, like I said earlier. So reaching out could also be reaching out and talking about a possible opportunity that you're thinking of. Maybe you have a way that you can help yourself and others. Maybe you see someone is in a place where they could use your kind of skills, but they're not advertising for it. I've actually gotten jobs through cold calls before. So this was back like around 2002. I ended up getting a really good studio job because I just liked the programming on the network and I wanted to work there. I sent just a random note to an email that probably shouldn't have worked for jobs, but they forwarded to the right person, and I got a job. And sometimes when you least expect it, you can do it. I realize now I was probably manifesting that too, but I just knew. I was like, send the application, it's going to happen. And I was at a point also in my life where I thought, I don't want to be where I'm at right now, and I don't want to do what I've been doing, and I need money in abundance to come through. Universe, make this happen. And I sent the email. And there was a lot of positive energy that was put out with that. Like, I'm the right person, and it worked. So be outspoken, be bold, be imaginative. And the worst that can happen is nothing. Like, they just don't reply or they say no. But for something like that, there's a lot to be had for that. For the rest of you, this can be about deciding to make a difference in the world, in your life, with someone that you care about. Pick up the phone, talk, and be the first one to initiate. Don't wait. This is not a time to be passive for that kind of stuff, okay? So there could be an opportunity that opens up because of your proactive, or when we see the Fool here, because you're taking a leap of faith. Okay, so let's look at the future a little bit. Actually, I'm really drawn to this card because it almost came off. All right, so we have the Hierophant. And for this one, it is a very sort of traditional card, but it can come through for people that may end up, doing their own business, or also working in healing, in faith, and some sort of a service-oriented career. It's also saying it's going to come back together. You're going to be organized. This is what's going to help you get to whatever your future state is. A schedule, a plan, and a feeling like I've got this. It's going to be fine. And you wake up every morning starting your sort of going down your list of things that you're going to do. So be a manager. You've got the management card here. Manage your own schedule, manage your life. And I think that's going to be really great. Okay. Let's go now into a powerful meditation to help you find your inner power, to release some of these sort of things that are leaving your life, whether it's an old job or an old relationship, and to feel like that Two of Wands, like whatever it is that you want to manifest or bring into your life, you can make it happen. So there's two images that come to me. I talked about the rainbow, and before I started, I saw like a comet too. I think we'll work with the rainbow, and then I'll see if I can integrate the other piece. So go ahead and close your eyes. I want you to, for those of you that, by the way, I think you should all stick around. You're working from home or there's no excuses anymore. So stick around for the meditation if you can. But if you have to leave because you're out walking or working, you can watch it later on replay. But everyone else, just close your eyes, relax, and let's bring in some healing. I'm also going to send some healing to the planet, just like I did in that meditation, and to people that are sick or departed. Let's all take a deep breath together. I want you to sit up tall for a moment. And I've been doing this a bit in my meditations, but if you're holding on to any stress, just give yourself a gentle massage on the shoulders and imagine that you can pull that out, energetically releasing any ties that you have to people, or if you kind of feel like that God Atlas that is holding up the weight of the world, massage your shoulders and then pull your posture up so that you have, you're opening up your heart space a little bit, pushing out the chest. And now I want you to take a nice deep breath and imagine that the sun is shining directly into your heart chakra, and you can feel that energy beaming in and lighting up your body, pushing through the heart, pushing through the veins, going from head to toe, creating this energetic, almost angelic being of light. Deep breath, inhale. Exhale. Take a moment and anchor your heart into the planet. The way that we can do this is by saying some sort of gratitude, a simple thing. Thank you, Mother Earth, for providing a place for me to walk, for me to sleep, for giving me air to breathe. Thank you for being here for every day of my life, for my ancestors, and for all the generations to come. As you take this breath and offer that prayer of gratitude, feel that your heart connects with the center of the earth and that you have a cosmic anchor that will keep you safe as we go out of our body here in a moment. In front of you, imagine that there is a bridge of light. And as you start to walk along this bridge, you realize it's not just any bridge of light, it's a rainbow. I want you to take your time walking above this rainbow, knowing that you're now kind of leaving your body. If you need to kind of separate a bit, imagine that your cosmic or spiritual self is exiting through your third eye and walking onto this beautiful prismatic bridge. And you can have railings if you need to, but don't worry, you're not going to fall. There's like a force field that keeps you in the center. I also see this rainbow as being miles and miles wide, so you have nothing to worry about. Pick a color that you want to walk on and start to walk up towards the firmament, towards the heavens above. With each step that you take, I want you to feel that if there's any sadness or sorrow, it falls away from your body, kind of like raindrops. Drop by drop, thought by thought, moment by moment, you're letting go of the past, of the pain, of the uncertainty, of the fear, of all the stuff that has gathered in your energetic body. See each of these things, these lower frequencies falling to the earth, and Gaia is going to, Mother Earth is going to accept them, take them, recycle them, and you are going to be cleared as you're doing this, just like that clearing card that we saw in your destiny. Take a deep breath and feel now that not only the golden light of the sun, but each and every color of the rainbow is coming into your chakra system. They align with your chakra anyway, so this is going to give you a balancing. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, indigo, all of those colors are coming through from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Take a deep breath and allow for those prismatic colors to enter each chakra. Exhale, seeing a cloud gather around you, and these were the clouds of fear and doubt and uncertainty, and then seeing them dissolve as the sun shines through them. Get up to the top of the rainbow, and from this place, we're going to send a healing prayer towards the planet. I want you to see everybody on their different rainbows or on the different colors of this rainbow saying the prayer together. And I imagine each of you shining like stars or comets or beautiful globes of light. And as you start to pray, imagine that there's this chorus of notes that is playing up there in the firmament. Each of us resonates with a frequency. I've heard it with angelic beings before. So I want you to find your frequency. What note would you be in the musical scale? And I want you to imagine that you're playing that note. And together we're going to create a beautiful song that's going to grace the surface of the earth with a higher frequency, with music, that harmony card that we saw. And it's going to bring a sense of calm towards the planet. Pick your note, and I'm going to also call in an archangel to help us with this. Archangel Gabriel, help us spread this word of light, of love, and this prayer and meditation to help all of those on the planet. We'll do a prayer in a second for those that have departed, but this is for those on the planet. Listen to your note, harmonize with the sound of this, and beam out your heart towards the planet. To Archangel Gabriel, to the Ascended Masters and the angelic entities that exist beyond this rainbow, please help us now pray for those who are sick, for those who are dying or who have departed. For those that are sick, give them the power to be well. For those who are crossing and transitioning into the other side. One more time, we call out to the angels to pray, to hold space, to allow for that healing to take place. One more time, hear our joint prayer and meditation. Take a moment and use this elevated space to send a personal prayer out for someone that you care about, or even your own future. And I want you to, at the end of this rainbow, see a pot of gold and imagine that that is love, that is abundance, that is health, that is wealth. whatever you want to see there, take a moment. We're going to do this in silence. I know it's hard, but just I'll hold the space and I'll bring the energy in. Infuse your desire, your projected future into that gold, that pot of gold, and then we're going to go into the pot of gold. So together, let's breathe, and I'll open up the space, and I'll try to use the sun to help direct the energy into that future projection for you as well. Know that your prayer has been heard. Know that that vision has been cast into the future. When you hear the single sound of this bell, I want you to imagine that you are now gently sliding down the rainbow, going into that pot of prosperity or gold, and you're going to absorb that future state into your present body, your present state as well. See yourself starting to move through the prism down towards that pot of gold, towards that future that you've created. Feel that you're drifting down as gently as a feather or a bird drifting on the wind or a butterfly. Note that your body has actually now moved to that new state. Maybe you notice that there's a slight change in the energy or the appearance of your body. You're going to go into your top crown chakra, which was actually the pot of gold. And you're going to assimilate all this new heightened energy and this vision into that crown chakra. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, snap into place the new and old. Get a sense of strength and power. Know that you can, you will, you are already creating your future reality. And know that you have the power to create change in your life. On the next exhale, open your eyes. And welcome back. Just want to say thank you so much to everybody that was present today. I appreciate that. I really appreciate also Ryan and Maria for being present and helping moderate this. I'm doing a couple of things right now because it looks like people were acting up a little bit there. So thank you for everyone that took advantage of this. These are really powerful meditations, and they can make a big difference in how we feel, how we connect with one another, and what we can do. I have a new shortcut on my website that lists up all of these things. So you can see everything if you need to, right there. These are all of the new meditation series that I have, and I'll give them to my moderators for the next reading. So I really do appreciate everybody for being present. I want to take a moment here to, please everyone behave here as I'm doing this. I want to take a moment here to just thank everyone that's done a super chat. And if you want to do that right now, you can. Thank you so much for that. It really does help me continue to create supply, show up, and it's a nice way to say thanks. Another way that you can stay in touch, and I hope you do, is by joining me on social media. Instagram is a great place because I use the stories, and it's a good reminder of what's coming up next. I also do that on Facebook. And thank you so much, everyone, for giving me the super chats right now. Big appreciation for especially that generous one from you, Pupak. I appreciate that. Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon, it's all the same username. It's Nicholas Ashbaugh. Patreon is a great way to do a ongoing sort of contribution. And for those of you that are channel members here, that's the same thing. You can join me on Twitter as well at @Ashbaugh. And all information about past, present, future meditations and upcoming readings, it's all on my website. And I know my moderators have put that link out there in chat. When the video's on replay, I actually put that in cards, and I forget to mention that. But if you click the little corner, give me about half an hour after it goes live, but I'll have those links in the video as well for those of you on mobile or who just want to kind of click that. And I do have a PayPal page as well. It's paypal.me, and it's Nicholas Ashbaugh as well. So thank you so much. I see a lot of great contributions coming in here at the end. I appreciate you. And again, I want to let you know that we're all in this together. That's what we saw with the World card. We can continue to make positive changes, support one another, and let's do that. And I'm going to try to show up as much as I can as we're going through this. Right now, I've been able to be here almost every day. I may take a day off here and there, but I'll try to come through with meditations when I'm not doing readings. Okay? So much love and light to you, Aquarius. I appreciate you. I'll be back again tomorrow, same time for Pisces. If it's not your sign, you're still welcome to show up. You especially can come through at the end because I'll be doing the guided meditation. And I also have some great insights even in the channeled message. So show up if you need to. Otherwise, I'll be back for some guided meditations later this week. Much love and light. Thanks again to Ryan and Maria for keeping everything organized. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate all the folks around the world that showed up today. You're amazing, and I'm humbled by your presence. You have a great day, okay? Thank you.